My name is Laura Almeida. I am currently a senior at Master Academy.
Awesome. Thank you. What happened initially that made you realize that you needed our service?
So I wasn't really the best at math, but I was just kind of the student that like if I studied, I would understand it. And when I took my PSAT my junior year, I got a super low score that I was like in shock when I saw it. I was like, whoa. And then that kind of made me realize that I was lacking some like basic algebra that I like really needed help on. And I remember I took one SAT just to kind of see where I was. And then I realized that like for English, I was way higher than my math. Like the scores were super disproportionate. And I would see in like the questions that I was missing, I just wouldn't understand. Like it was kind of an issue with like concept. You know what I mean? It's nothing that it was like I didn't know it, but it was more of like the concepts itself that I lacked.
And okay, so you took a PSAT and that brought that to your attention that you were like lower in math. What about in math in general? Like aside from the PSAT, like what math class were you in?
Last year I was in pre-cal. And the year before that, I took, what do you take in like algebra 2 or algebra 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And in algebra 2, especially because my freshman year with geometry was online because of COVID. So I had zero geometry knowledge at all. Like what is radius, like circle, nothing. Like I knew nothing about geometry. So that kind of pushed me back a lot in terms of like the SAT because there's a lot of content with that. And then once I went into my pre-cal class, I kind of began to realize like I need help. You know what I mean?
So was it that you felt like you weren't that strong in math in general? Or would you consider yourself at that time like a strong math student or not so much?
I don't think so. I think I became a stronger math student after Piece of Pie because I filled in so many gaps of like basic algebra and geometry because I was missing a lot of like content, like a lot of like basics, just like straight up basics. Nothing like complicated or anything like that, just basic stuff that you learn in like ninth and 10th that I wasn't familiar with.
It makes sense because the SAT doesn't go really, there's barely any pre-cal at all. And it's mainly algebra one, algebra two, geometry.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Like, all those like I noticed that, like I was doing pretty good in my pre-cal class with like trig and like all those things. And then if you gave me like a geometry problem, I'd be like, what is this? Like
yeah,
I had no
cool. And what kind of problem was this causing for you? Like what would have the issue have been if you would have kept that score that you had?
a lot of stress, especially going to like my senior year and applying for colleges, especially for bright futures and for Florida schools that require you to submit your SATs, and especially like schools like UF and FSU that are pretty competitive schools that you might have a good essay and you might have other good things, but if your SAT score isn't strong enough, you're not going to get into the school because it's a requirement. So that now like I was able to get the score that I wanted to, I have 100% bright futures and I like feel super confident applying with the score that I have. And I know that it's not going to be a factor that prevents me from getting into the school. And I can focus on other things that are like under my control.
All right, cool. And before you did the tutoring the first time, so what was your expectation of the virtual group learning environment?
So at first, when I got recommended, I was kind of iffy about the idea of it being virtual because of the fact that like when I had classes in quarantine with virtual classes, that was exactly the problem that I had geometry online and I didn't learn anything. So I was kind of like, oh, like 4 hours, that's a long time. And like, I don't know, I was just kind of worried about how it would affect like me learning and stuff, but when I actually took the course, it was like nothing like I realized that um with like the with your teachers and like the way that you guys set up the classes and everything is just like it's definitely not anything to be scared about and it's like something that like helps you. And there was a point that like 4 hour classes would be like, oh okay, like I'll wake up at 9 and then at 1 I'm like done and then they didn't feel that long.
I mean, you did it twice, so you
Yeah.
must have been okay with it.
Yeah, I got used to it. And like the teachers like are amazing. Shout out Mars and Corey. There's like the teachers, at least I had really good experience with the two teachers that I had.
Did you have them in different preps, like one and then the other, or was it kind of just always mixed?
I had the mix. Like the first prep, I had Corey for I think 2 classes, and then the rest was Mars. And then this recent one, I kind of had them a little bit more mixed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll let them know. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
If somebody asked you, right, how would you describe our service to another student?
I think it's definitely some place that you can go to, a resource that you can have if you want to ace the SAT. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, you guys give so much practice. And I feel like one very important thing to know is that you do have to put in the work because it's not easy. But you're gonna see that with the way like the programs are set up, the teachings, the homeworks, the feedback, all of the practice, which is literally one of the most helpful things, doing so many practices where you start to pick up patterns. So I would definitely say that if you're interested in getting like a good score, pizza pie is for sure the answer, but you just have to make sure that you're super dedicated because it's not just light work, it is a lot of work, but it is worth it. And like you're gonna see your results no matter what. You're gonna increase for sure.
How about you, Lamy?
I'm really happy with the decision. I was kind of skeptic at the very beginning because I didn't have that experience, and also with the fact that the class were virtual. But I was really happy with the progress that Laura was having in the actual classes at the school. And for me, it was a relief because she's a very dedicated student and she has good grades, but despite of that, the score that matters for the university was not that good. And that is something I don't know how that can be explained, be good in the school, even though the student is not prepared for the next stage.
Right.
So you were the solution to that reality that I could not change at that time. So for me, it is really worthy because you are filling all the gaps, and that is basic knowledge that I believe all the students should have when they finish high school, so they have the right foundation for the next level. So that's why I did that sacrifice of doing one round and then the second round because she asked me. So it is knowledge, so and it's resources for her. So for me, it was really worthy, even it was sacrifice in the money aspect. But for me, I'm super happy with the fact that I did that because it is like an investment for her life. You know, now it's on her. It's knowledge. No matter what she decided to study or what school, but she has that for herself, and the fact that she was able to follow with the classes and the determination and the willing to do the extra after the practice of the sport, after the keeping up with the school regular tasks. She put the extra time, and probably the next step for her will have a lot of, like, she will have to do the same for every new stage that she needs, like the extra effort and following the classes and meeting the due day, like it was math, but also like an exercise for life for her next stage. So I'm also really grateful and very happy with the investment that we did.
Wow, thanks. That was well
Yeah.
said.
Yes.
Practice, like she killed it.
Yes. Yes, I believe it is a combination. Like you are great, but also the student has to be willing to put the work. Like for for piece of pie to work, like the student has to be willing to keep it up and doing the extra, you know. But as long as it is a good student, like you provide everything, you know, that it's kind of disappointed that all students could not have that in the regular basics, you know.
Yeah.
But it is a reality right now, and you are a good solution for the person that can do that investment.
Well,
Will be grateful to find you because you were really helpful, you know.
all right, I appreciate the kind.
You when I say you and your team, because I know from your side it's also a team effort, so extend my happiness
I
to
will.
your team.
I will.
Okay. And I have been recommending you to every friend or parent that talk me about this stage. I do recommend you.
You let them know it's a lot of work.
Yes, I know.
But it's worth it, so it's okay.
Yes.
So Laura, tell us. So what result did we help you get? What was your final score and the total improvement?
So I started my one of my PSAT scores, I believe, was like a 400 for my PSATs, and my final score ended up being a 750 on the math. And the first SAT practice that I took with you guys for my first course ever, I believe, was 500 or 510. So I started with a 500, 510, and I was consistently scoring like 500s, 510s. I would not even go like past the 530 mark. And then in this last one I took in August, I ended up getting a 750. No math.
Let's go. I don't even want to do the math on that. I'm tired. But that's a lot of points. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. So you did the course twice, right?
Yeah.
So when was the first time again?
The first time was in my junior year, sophomore.
But was it the March test? Do you remember this?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was a March test. Yeah.
And then you took a break and then did it in.
Yeah, because I did the March one and then I stopped for the one that was in the middle between March and August.
During like AP season or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I stopped basically for like most of like the ending of the year.
3 months,
and then I kept on, like after that one I took like a break and then I did it again.
And so for the first round, I remember you ended up getting, I think, it was funny. And I know it was the March because you took 2 tests. And then like one was a 620 and one was a 670.
Yeah.
And then you did summer again and then got your 750.
Yeah.
How was your experience taking it twice? Like, is that something you would recommend to somebody?
Well, honestly, I think it depends on what you want to do. So if you're happy with the score that you get the first time you take it, then that's great. But if you want to keep on increasing and you have like higher expectations for yourself, which both are fine, I think that definitely, for me at least, it was a good option because I knew that there was so much that I could learn. Like once you reach a score, even if you're like 700s, you can still like get to the 800 mark. Like if you're at a 700, yeah, it's a high score, but you can make it to the 800. And like with all the tutorings and all the practice, like there was never a point where I was like, oh, I don't know this. You know what I mean? Like when I was practicing, I kind of recalled that information again. So it was like my knowledge from the first program that I had taken kind of like accumulated to the second one and it kind of strengthened it even more. It wasn't something like, oh, I'm just going to repeat the same thing all over and just see what happens. It was like all of the knowledge that I learned from the first one, like carried onto the second one, and it became like an even stronger foundation. So I would definitely recommend if you're aiming for like, if you start like how I did, which was like kind of low, and you want to get to like that 700 mark, and you don't manage to get on the first time, don't be like discouraged or anything like that because it's totally possible and like it's definitely doable with all the things that like piece of pie gives you. You can for sure make it.
And then I have another question for you. Because you not only took the course twice, which is, I mean, we had a bunch of people actually this time do that, and I'm so happy. Like everyone who did it, like it worked out like phenomenally, right? But the cool thing is that you guys had the experience of taking it during school and during the summer. Can you give me a pro and con of both, or?
Yeah. Okay. So pros of taking it in kind of during school. I took it at the beginning, so it wasn't during AP season. It is better in the sense that you kind of have like a balance, in a sense that you like learn to fit it into your schedule. You know what I
Right.
mean? Whereas if you do it in summer, it gets a little messy because of traveling, like trips. You're not really sure if you should like skip some lessons because you have something else, or if you should do them while you're like at the place. So kind of that, like during school, you kind of have a more like routine on it.
Right.
Bad thing during school though is that you have to balance SAT plus school, and you still want to try to maintain a good score on like both, and you also want to succeed in SAT. And like for example, waking up earlier or staying later during the weekdays, especially like for example for me that was a little bit difficult because I play sports, so like I couldn't attend any of the week ones because they would start at 4 and later in the night. So during the summer, it's kind of good because you have your own time, your own schedule. You can practice more. And like for example, for me, I would take my practice tests and take them like wherever I went. Where like if I traveled somewhere, I would just kind of have it on me to just practice. And honestly, during the summer, it's a lot less pressure. I recommend to do it in the summer because I think, yeah, you think about like, oh, you want to be able to enjoy your summer, but the thing is that you have so much fun in summer that like the fact that you have like this one little thing and it's something that you want to do, like you choose to take the SAT course, you can definitely manage your time way better than in school that you have like all of these pressures. You have sports, school plus SAT. So I definitely would recommend taking it during the summer, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Good feedback on that. And it's kind of like what I was thinking. You know, it's technically you have more time in the summer, but during the year you have more structure.
Yeah.
That's like if you really broke it down, that's what it would be like. During the year you have more structure because you're already doing things, you're traveling less, but you have way more work from school. In the summer, you have, unless you do like going wrong, but you have less work from school, but you're traveling, and depending on the student, you know, in the summer, all your friends are hanging out, blah blah blah. You're getting up later. Maybe you lose some structure there. But I'm still on your team, on your, you know, thinking that unless you travel extensively,
Yeah.
summer's an awesome move.
I agree. I agree.
Yes, ma'am.
For now, I just want to add for the summer brand, we needed to buy the tablet to make it like handy, because in the first round she used to print and do the paperwork. For summer, you do need to have the ability to do it on Notability.
Yeah. If you travel, it's like, I mean, you don't have to, you can just print them out. But I realized, I was like, wow, like if I, you know, it was so easy and I just had it everywhere. It was so good for practice.
Yeah.
They should pay me.
Yes, I believe so. I believe so, because she came to me like, Mom, I think I really need, like, and it makes sense. Otherwise, she would not make it.
My first piece of pie folder from the first one was like this thing.
I either need a
Did you not this thing?
I either need a book or I need to include like you're gonna need an iPad.
It's super worth. That's like pro tip.
Pro tip: just get an iPad. It's like nowadays it's like $300.
Yeah,
it is $300, but you're gonna use it for college.
Investment. Yeah, and I'm using it for school and then college, so it's like it's super worth it. And you have it. It's like you have it right there.
I've had this since 2017.
You put me on. You put me onto the iPad.
I'm so happy. Damn. You're not the first one. I had a mom one time. She was freaking out, like stressing out because she's printing. She had to go to like Kinko's every day, and she's just having like a life crisis because of printing. And I'm like, have you considered an iPad? And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's like $300. You probably spent that much on printing at this point.
Yeah, Yeah, if you think about it, the money you spend on ink and on printing the papers, like
Exactly.
go
Yeah.
to the amount that you would spend on an iPad, and you just have to spend it twice.
Cool. So everyone get an iPad.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Ultimately, what has this result meant for you or enabled you to do?
So first of all, like stress level, after I got that score, I was like, okay, who is like I'm done. Like what is SAT? Like that's in the past. Second of all, I got 100% bright futures, which is great because I want to go to UF. Um, and yeah, that's like anything I could ask for my senior year to not be that stressed with SAT and to have tuition paid. So
And the knowledge and the exercise for life, or
that's
for, you know.
Your mom's giving the wisdom today.
yeah. I'm just like, yeah, no stress. Just like, and
I had to make my 2 cents.
She gave like 30 cents. Like she gave them all. That was good. I like that. You don't hear that often, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So the advice to the students is to join our prep course, not for the SAT score, but for that knowledge. For that life
That is the
knowledge.
foundation.
Oh.
The SAT score is the result, but you give them like the method, like, you know, the way to get to that. And that is very important, what learning to push yourself and being disciplined, and you know that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I need to think about that more.
No, I believe you have that.
No, I know. I know we do it, but you know, it just
Yeah, no.
it's true. It is. I mean, I work very hard day and night. You know, I went to
Yeah.
and that's where I learned what hard work was. In high school, I got away with it a lot, you know, and I was like a little smarty pants and just like whatever. But then you got to Cornell and you're like, oh wait, these kids are way smarter than you. Like you're just nothing, you know. And then you realize that hard work is important, and being disciplined and having a schedule and being organized and sleeping early and all these other things that your parents tell you to do and you just don't listen. They're all right. So, you know, I'm glad my course brings that out a little bit in the students, right? Like, oh, I have to have a schedule now. Like what? Or I had a kid that they bought a planner, like life changing. I was like, that's crazy that my course made you buy a planner for the first time. Like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you don't plan it out, it's gonna be very hard. Like if you don't set a schedule, it's very hard.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, we have a rep for having it being difficult. Every single person that has come on here has been like, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, that's good. Because listen, if you're not here ready to work, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a compromise for the student, you know.
Yeah.
They have to put their work, otherwise it's not going to work.
Literally. So.
Yes. But we're very happy that for Laura it works, because she has been very dedicated, you know, and even though she were not having the results, so that's why I am so grateful, because she had the capacity and the attitude to do it, and she would not make it. We have not found you, you know. So
yeah, I'm very grateful too. And actually, Laura, what do you want to study?
I'm still undecided, but I want to go into international relations.
Okay.
Kilo track. Yeah.
Cool.
Were you expecting a mathy answer?
Definitely not. I was like maybe now you would have like I want to be an engineer. Like that doesn't happen, bro. Like I don't know her, right? No, I was because of what your mom had said earlier. I thought maybe like you were going into med school or something. But no, okay, international relations and then what, law school?
Pre-law, yeah, pre-law track. Yeah.
Okay, so you gotta take the LSAT. You'll be back to this scenario.
Yeah.
And then you can ask Marcella, you know, she just took the LSAT and she was studying for it. And so maybe by then we'll have an LSAT tutoring.
I remember she just graduated from like when last summer when she was, well, this past summer when she was tutoring me, she had just like left out like of UF.
Yep. And then she just took her LSATs like Monday. And
Oh my God.
oh, that's cool. I love that about our tutors. They're all young, and they're, you know, as people always ask me, like, "What tutors?" I'm like, definitely not the teachers that failed your students. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not no hate against these. Like, I know there's really good teachers out there.
Yeah.
I was one of the teachers back in the day, but I don't know. I want kids that can relate to you.
Yeah. No,
Right.
and in some of the lessons, like they were fun. Like we would make jokes, and like you build a connection with that tutor, with that person, and it makes you want to go to the classes. Like it motivates you to like want to learn. You know what I mean? Because you don't see like a old, oh no, like an older person doing it. You're like, okay, what is this? But you kind of like resonate.
Your mom was like, "Listen, hey,
I didn't hear.
I'm over 30.
I didn't hear
Relax."
that
No, no,
part.
no. I'm just saying it like in general. You can resonate more.
It's true. She's not wrong, Lady.
Okay, no, I'm learning. Reality is reality.
Reality, yo, your mom's all out right now, but reality is reality, bro.
Quote
It is
her
what
on
it
that.
is.
Quote her.
Bye, guys.
Bye.